Hello, good evening, everybody. That's kind of have your attention anyway. Uh, Thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Teresa Ortiz. I'm the director and founder of Rise Up. I wanted to introduce the rest of our team, although Paula Banks is missing, she's ill this evening, so keep her in your thoughts. But she is our secretary. Um, to my left here is Brittany Oder, and she is the president, and she is a certified master life coach. This is Debbie. She's our accountant and keeps us faithful and helps us to be good stewards of the money that God provides. And this is Jen Ting, and she is the health and wellness coach. So we all just wanted to take a moment and thank you so much for coming. It's a blessing to see so many beautiful faces here. We thank you so much. Later on in the evening, you'll hear from Jen and Brittany. So thank you. Thank you, ladies. I just wanted to share a little bit about Rise Up. You'll hear more later on, but I wanted to share the vision and the heart for this and how it came about. Probably about 12 years ago, when I was working at the Eugene Mission in the Women's Life Change program, this grew very much stronger and stronger. I had been teaching and mentoring women for 30 years, teaching the Bible and kind of doing one-on-one mentoring. But with the mission and having it being structured and meeting so many wonderful women, I learned so much from them, and it just stuck with me. And after I left the mission, I was there for 4 years, it continued to remain strong in my heart, and I just continued to meet with women here and there, and it would not leave me. So I talked to my husband about it, and I went and became a certified life coach to add to my education as a Genesis counselor for addictive and compulsive behaviors. I thought initially I was going to start a business helping people outside of the mission, but it quickly turned into just helping more women who were in a situation that they were not in a position to pay for services. So I continued to just help them, and my husband and I just provided the materials. And after a while, that became a little bit too much for us, which was a good thing because I was helping more and more women. And we decided that it needed to be a nonprofit organization. That much was clear. So I talked with several people, and there's several of you in this room who have seen this grow. We're just prayer partners with us about it. And we got a board, Debbie and Brittany and Paula, and we just started this little adventure working with anyone who would come our way, and it slowly grew. So as of last month, we have been in existence for 3 years, and that is just a big thanks to everyone who helped us with the founding things, getting our nonprofit or 501c3 certification. Since then, we have been able to help over 180 women, and recently some teens, we added that. And that's through one-on-one coaching, through online seminars and series of articles, and then also with workshops. So I am just very excited. This is our first gala. It's a first official welcoming, and we are just excited to share this evening with you. You'll hear again from Jen and Brittany, their stories. You'll hear a little bit more of mine later, but we're privileged to have 3 courageous women who offered to help and share their story with us. But for now, we are going to have dinner because I'm sure everybody is hungry, and we want to thank Ann Shar for providing such a wonderful dinner and all her helping hands. I also wanted to thank everyone who has helped put this together. Too many people to name. Thank you so much. And those who are had to leave, but they still showed up to help, so I'm so thankful for that. So I will just say a quick prayer of thanks, and then we're going to just dismiss you by tables to go out, and Ann and Rhonda will guide you when you get out there. And we're going to start with this table 10 and work our way to table 1. So let's pray. Okay, so next we are going to have our first raffle. We are going to be doing the Family Adventure basket, and Brittany and Stacy are bringing it up. And in this is a $150 gift certificate for P.F. Chang's, $50 for a crumble, so that's probably about 5 cookies. And then a $75 gift certificate for Regal Cinema. So, all right. Okay, so the winner ticket is 1184271. Anybody? I'll read it again. 1184271. Woo! All right. Enjoy that cookie, Lynn. All right. Let's give her another round of applause. Enjoy that, Lynn. Okay, next I'd like to introduce Jen Ting. She is the newest member of Rise Up, our health and wellness coach. And we're going to watch a short video, and then she'll come up and share her story with you. She's going to come up, and then I'm going to leave, and then we're going to play the video.
Hey, I'm Jen Ting, and I have been a health coach for 7 years now, although outside of Rise Up. So it's just been in the last about half a year that Teresa has invited me to become part of the Rise Up team. I'm excited to be able to use my health coaching experience with individuals of all ages, and learning what people in the coaching world, what people are really looking for, what are the deep questions and the real reason for the place they are in their life, and helping them to dig deeper. I used to be a teacher, and so after about 10 years of my own personal health struggles, I was going through a lot with my gut and chronic health issues. I realized that I had this huge passion for sharing what I had learned and advocacy for health with other people. I transitioned into getting my health coaching certification and started my own small business in that. You know, when you feel good, you don't really realize, like, you might be able to set a goal, or you think you're trying to work on a certain area of your life, and you can focus a little easier on that. But when you really just feel crummy, you're fatigued and tired, or you're sore, you're just frustrated and confused. It feels like such an uphill battle to be able to work on any other areas in your life. In my own health journey, finally being able to look back and see through a doctor's recommendation of looking at the foods I was eating and the habits I was doing, how that can impact your overall well-being. And then we're not just talking about health, whether you're disease-free or not, but able to talk about are you feeling well in other areas of your life. It's exciting to see that Rise Up is able to offer support for women that can help them to feel better overall while they're working on, you know, some other big, deep areas of their life as well.
Thank you. So my goal tonight, one of them is to share with you a bit of what I was thinking perhaps a little bit before Teresa invited me, or when Teresa first invited me to become part of this team and this mission, like why a health coach? If you know enough about our mission statement and how we work with women coming through trauma, thinking, you know, what's my place in this? And it's been a really beautiful transition. So I'm going to read most of my things here, but I hope that you hear my heart and where we are and what we can do for women in this community. I'm honored to share the work we do to empower women to feel their best, both physically and mentally, so they can lead fulfilling, vibrant lives. For over 7 years, I've been dedicated to supporting individuals of all ages in their journey toward whole body health. I'm honored to be part of Rise Up to focus on the women in our community, coaching women who are looking for nutrition and healthy habits that are also working through other areas of their lives in Rise Up. In the video, I talked about how poor health can block us from moving forward in other areas. For nearly 10 years, I struggled with chronic health issues that left me exhausted, frustrated, and disconnected from the life that I wanted to lead, and that was in my 20s. I tried medications, but wasn't seeing the improvements I would expect. It wasn't until I started exploring the powerful role food and nutrition play in our overall well-being that I began to feel so much better. This awareness changed my life. It motivated me to get into the health field and what drives the work I do today as a certified health coach. Now let's add in a little activity. In your head, I want you to take your body weight and half it. Now how many of you get about that in ounces of water a day? So 50 pounds, 75 ounces of water. You don't have to answer, I'm just giving you some math second there. And there is some water on your table. I say this not just because it's the recommended amount, but like I say, you don't know what you don't know. It's true in a lot of ways, but for wellness, let's say you drank that much water, and then you realize what you didn't know. Over time, you realize how much better your joints feel, how less tired you are, and the list can go on. We can say the same thing for sleep and other healthy habits. Now imagine you're coming to a hard spot in life, and you already feel crummy from poor habits. Your cup is going to overfill a lot faster, and you may not be able to meet the challenging situations that come your way as you would when you are feeling your best. Now enter in why a health coach is helpful in Rise Up. We're not talking about perfect diets, time at the gym, perfect sleep, all the things. My best right now is still living with some chronic conditions and less energy than I'd like, but I definitely am able to show up for my family, my friends, my community, much better than I would if I was still stuck in that old body from my 20s. I was able to handle some hard traumas of my life in ways that I wouldn't have otherwise in my 30s. So, how does this all relate to Rise Up? I hope you have a better picture of the purpose of health and wellness in the coaching space of helping women walk in the path of healing and trauma. In the future, we're growing to offer group classes focused on education around health and wellness, where women can learn about everything from balanced nutrition, sleep, hydration, habit building, movement, and stress management. These classes are designed not just to provide information, but to build lasting habits that are sustainable in the long term. Rise Up is designed to be accessible to all women, regardless of their background, and we're committed to ensuring that no one is left behind due to financial barriers, thanks to others who support our work. After being in a high-cost health coaching field previously, I know how needed our nonprofit is in our community and beyond. Together, we can create a healthier, stronger community of women who are ready to live their fullest lives. Thank you for supporting the important work and for being part of this movement toward health and wellness for all women. I'm going to introduce to the stage Brittany Oda, who is our Certified Master Life Coach. Thank you for your time.
Rise Up. I wanted to share a little bit about myself, how I got here. I have been working with kids for 18 years. It's always been a strong passion of mine. And though I have a background in early childhood education and as well as child psychology, I knew there was a trauma-based education missing, and I wanted to dive deeper into that, and that is what led me to become Master Life Coach certified, as it broke down specific areas in one's life. And combining those I felt was really, really important to help further how I helped other people. I actually went through a divorce myself and have had to learn how to co-parent with my co-parent and go through all those highs and lows and roller coaster ride that brought. I know how hard the transition can be from marriage to divorce, single life, and then remarrying and blending a family. And a lot of the times, including for myself and my past experience, you don't have many resources at your disposal, and that includes financial barriers. So I'm so thankful to have Rise Up where that is not an issue. We will work with anyone and everyone, and we're so thankful to do that. I know for myself, I had a lot of help given to me when I didn't have anything, and I'm so thankful to now be part of Rise Up, who can give back to any women, youth who are going through trauma and are ready to start the healing process. My hope and prayer is that what I've been through and my process of healing and where it's led me can help others find their process and their journey, and I can help them through that to become the happiest self that they can be.
Hi, I'm Brittany Oda. I'm already emotional and I didn't expect to be so early. You all could bring me your napkins. But truly, I'm just overwhelmed with emotion because even just hearing that and seeing all of your faces, sorry, all of this support is truly amazing because you're helping women like me who, if you were to meet me today, is happy. I'm hard to tell, but I truly am happy and I've gone through so much healing, and I would tell you I'm married to the love of my life and I have 4 amazing kids, and from the outside it looks perfect. But if we rewind 8.5 years ago, last month, 8 years ago, would have been last month, I woke up one morning and had no idea I would have my foundation just ripped out from underneath me. I would become a single mom at 27 overnight and have no idea what I was gonna do. I remember that day pulling up into my parents' driveway. I'm pretty sure I left the car running. I swung the door open and I went into their house. And I just knocked on the door. I didn't tell them I was coming, and I just said, I need your help. And I didn't know what I was gonna do. I had my sister-in-law take my kid. I had 2 kids at the time, my older 2. I call them my OGs. And my sister-in-law had them, and I made a few phone calls to one person who's sitting in the room right now. And I just said, I don't know what to do. Also, there's some sensitive material in this, just so you know. I said, my husband's been arrested. I don't even know where he's at. I was so lost, had no idea what was going on. My whole life was just ripped out from underneath me. And I remember sitting there just sobbing, trying to figure out what was going on, where he was at. And mind you, this is with somebody that I had been with since I was in high school, who I thought was the love of my life, sorry. Had 2 kids with, we had everything planned out. Everything was perfect, little cookie cutter house, and I would show up to church every Sunday, and you know, I always felt really bad for the women that I would meet who would tell me, you know, I'm divorced or I'm a single mom, and let me tell you, I was humbled really quickly. And learned how messy life can be. And when I sat down to write what I was going to share with you, many times I couldn't do it because the truth is, my story's messy. I couldn't put it on paper and give it a perfect, put it in writing and give it a perfect beginning, middle, and end, because the truth is it's out of order and it's messy and it's real and it's raw. And I just want you to know your support is so appreciated, because I remember being there and not knowing what I was going to do. And I remember trying to go, okay, I'm going to go to therapy, I'm going to get help. And I walked in and they said it's $150 to $175 an hour. And I'm like, I'm a single mother of 2 and I work full time. That would take me a day. There's no way I can afford that. Fast forward, and I go back and forth, fast forward 8 years, I'm so thankful to be part of this nonprofit where I can go and I can help women who, just like me, they don't have $175 for an hour of help, you know? And so I'm so thankful to do that. And I could not do that. There would be more women like me without help if it weren't for you guys in this room. So thank you. There were so many women who helped me along the way, women who sat me down and told me the truth, the things I didn't want to hear at the time, you know? that I could do it and I'd be good on my own. And I'm thinking, yeah, right, I'm on my own right now, and I can't sleep, and I can't eat, and I can't focus. And I just remember thinking, there's no way, but there is a way. And through my faith, but also even apart from my faith, I personally couldn't have done it without my faith. However, you don't have to have faith in order to get help. And that is why I love this nonprofit, because it doesn't matter your background or what you believe in. You deserve to be healthy and happy and get help, and that is what we are here for. And I'm so thankful for that. Mom, thank you for starting this. I wouldn't be where I'm at. I remember her trying to give me help 8 years ago, and I'm fine. Because the truth is, when you first do it, I'm going to do this, and I filed for divorce because it was not a healthy or safe environment any longer. Filed for divorce, and that first week, the memes come in, that you got this, girl, fix your crown, you're amazing, you get all this support, and then a couple months later, you're going, people stop kind of calling, people stop, people have lives, people have their own trauma, and they move on, and that's totally fine. But I remember sitting there going, okay, I could use a couple memes right now, I could, little quotes and of strength, and then I realized, nope, I've got to dive in deeper and really get help and start this journey of truly healing and facing it. And so I'm thankful and hopeful to work with even more women on how to, first of all, just stand, just rise up, right? That was the biggest thing, just get up. You got this. And I'm going to share with you, so through all that, so much help diving into the Genesis process, which is part of the curriculum that we offer through Rise Up. And it was so hard, it was so difficult to look at this and have the truth right in front of my face. And I had no idea I had all these codependencies and things I had to work on. And I remember about 6 months after, I thought, oh gosh, 6 months post-divorce, I feel good, I want to help people. And I went to start to do that and try, and I couldn't. I realized I'm not ready yet. It's been 8 years, and I'm finally ready, and I'm so thankful. But it hasn't been easy, and I'm so thankful for everyone who supported me through all of it. I'm going to share with you, some letters that my OGs wrote, my older two kiddos. And when I first read these, I thought I was going to read that they see how hard the struggle is and that they're so proud of their mother for fighting through it all. And to be honest, they're kind of boring. I was a little disappointed. I thought it was going to be a little, I don't know. But then I realized I'm so thankful that they are kind of boring, because that means the 8 years of help kept the trauma with me and not them. And that's the goal, right? That's the hope. That's the prayer. That is why I'm here and want to help other women, so that when their kids write letters, there's no trauma. It's just boring. And this is what my oldest daughter wrote. She's 12. My family is not normal or a typical family. My mom and dad aren't married, but it's okay, because I get so many more people to love me and care for me, and I get so many more benefits than other kids I know, because I have 4 Christmases, which means a lot of presents, and so many more holidays. I'm gonna now talk about my living situation. I live with my mom and dad, and I love this part, because she says, I live with my mom and dad, and we're not together anymore. And she doesn't say my mom sometimes and my dad sometimes first. She says, I live with my mom and dad. And that meant a lot to me. Every other weekend, I am with my dad for the night, Friday, all Saturday and Sunday. Then me and my brother, my dad takes us to school, but before we go to school, me and my brother have to drop off our clothes and sports equipment at my mom's house, and then it's off to school. In some occasions, if I have a fun event I want to do, I don't have to go to my dad's if I don't want to go. It's my choice. Now I'm going to talk about my family. My mom got remarried to my stepdad, Kelly, or as I like to call him, Kelpie. I have 3 other siblings, Blake, Lila, Tate. Blake is 11, Lila is 5, and Tate is 2 months old. My dad has a girlfriend, Heather, and she has 3 daughters, and they are so kind. Both of my parents are amazing, and I love them so much, and always will. And don't worry, Kelpie, I love you so much too. Oh, wait, I forgot about one more thing. My parents are really good at co-parenting. They can be in the room together without any arguing, unlike some of my friends. I feel like it's super duper amazing to have that kind of split parents. Okay, now I think I'm done. And again, I read those and I read that and I thought, gosh, she didn't say how strong I am or how much I've been through and how she's proud and I'm her role model. None of that. And I was like, wow, Lord, forgive me. That was so selfish. And it took me a second to step back and go, that was my prayer. That's the answer to prayer, that she doesn't have to see all that right now. Maybe someday when she asks questions, but for now it's just boring, and she feels loved and she gets a lot of Christmases. And here's my son's, and his is a lot more short, if you know him. Yeah. My family is not like other families. I'm pretty sure they did this together, the first part. My family is not like other families. My parents are divorced, but it's actually pretty cool because I get to have multiple different people that love me. And I get to see my dad every other weekend, and I stay with my mom and Kelpie for the weekend before I go back to my dad's. My parents split up the holidays. For example, let's say it's Christmas. I will have it in the morning with my dad, and then the afternoon at my mom's house, so I get to see everybody. And then the next year they switch. What it feels like to have divorced parents is when you first get them, it might feel pretty sad, but after a while it will feel much better. What I do when I miss one is I just FaceTime the other one, whichever one I miss, and that's it. Again, I'm not strong, I'm not courageous, nothing. And when they handed it to me, then I was like, oh, thanks guys. But I wanted to share those boring letters with you because your support means so much. It breaks cycles, it breaks boundaries, it breaks trauma. I mean, it's huge. It's 2 little lives that get to grow up and not have to be in that. Is it easy? No. And there's still a lot of things that we work really hard to do. But that's the goal, and I want to help so many other women realize that it's not the plan, right? It's not the plan to go through a hard divorce. It's not the plan to have your husband or your spouse get into things you don't want to talk about, but sometimes it happens. And I want Rise Up to be part of that healing. There's one more thing I want to share with you. Stacy or Kelly, can you bring, no, you Kelly, Stacy, can you bring my phone real quick? My co-parent also surprised me and wrote something for me to share. My OG's dad. Thank you, Stacy. Here we go, real quick. All right. Brittany Oda and I share 2 amazing kids, Evelyn and Blake. We have come to a point in co-parenting now where we are able to talk through and discuss everything involving our 2 kids. Behaviors, likes, dislikes, emotions, school, sports. This wasn't always the case, and it was hard at first. It started off rough, but once we were able to truly focus on the kids' best interest, and that is when it clicked for us. It is no longer about our egos as individuals, but our shared goals of raising 2 amazing children to become the absolute best versions of themselves. And that meant a lot to me because this is the guy that destroyed everything, right? Caused a lot of drama too, but a lot of trauma. And now I don't call him an ex or anything like that. He's just my co-parent, and the kids have no idea of the trauma. And I pray that someday what they find out is limited, but that's a whole nother thing. But honestly, I just wanted to share those with you because it's my true story. And it took a long time to get to a place where I could do this and share with you that I'm no longer that scared young woman from 8 years ago that had no idea I was gonna make it. And I just thank you so much for the support, because now I get to have a job that I absolutely love, that I get to work with other women and help with co-parenting and raising kids in a blended family. This is amazing. I have the best job ever, and I want to thank you guys so much for your support. So thank you.
Should have just had a box of these everywhere. Thank you, Brittany and Jen. So next, we're gonna lighten it up just a little. We're gonna do our second raffle. And this one is our date night basket. And there is a $150 gift card for Gordon Tavern, a $50 gift certificate for Heritage Winery, and a $50 worth of Euphoria chocolate, so probably 4 or 5 pieces of chocolate. So she's bringing that basket, so we'll give her just a minute. Here it comes. And I did want to take a moment just to let you know that we had to change things up a little bit because we did have a last-minute cancellation for our live music, so I do apologize for that. Again, another person just fell ill with this crazy sickness that's going around right now, so I do want to apologize for that. But thank you, Mark, for the awesome music that you're playing for us. So, okay, here we go. Okay, this one is 1184385. 1184385. Did she get it? Wonderful. Okay, so we're just going to take a little minute to breathe and have a break. If you want to get up and stretch, use the restroom, and we'll come back in about 5 minutes.
No more crying this time. I wanted to say thank you to our three special guest speakers that have come to share their stories. First up, we have Rachel Bowen.
Got the wrong side. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight in support of Rise Up. My name is Rachel Bowen. I am a survivor who thought for far too long that that was what made me special. Of course, we can all tell. It's really my mesmerizing smile and my gift of gab. Seriously, tonight is not about me and how special I am. It's about celebrating Rise Up and the difference these ladies make in the world. Each girl or woman that they help makes the world a better place for generations to come. Rise Up's commitment to walk beside these women fills a giant void in the world of mental health in our community. When I met Teresa, I was in crisis mode. I was only just beginning to prepare myself to start the path to where I am today. I had a lot going on at that moment. I had just started therapy. I was starting to go through the physical changes that all of us women get. I was experiencing major changes at home, at work. My sister, that I hadn't seen in 36 years, found me. And while this was a great thing, it was still stressful and full of growing pains. At work, we were changing our department structure. I had a new office. I had a new desk. Lots of changes. I even had a new manager, Teresa. The first time I saw Teresa, she was taking a tour of the office. And she walks in and she's all dressed up and full of visible confidence that put my anxiety into high gear. I was in distress for a number of reasons that day, and I didn't want to join in the festivities that were meant to welcome her to our team. The more I tried to distance myself from the group, the more they pressured me to join the fun, and this ended up in me having a meltdown. To be honest, I'm not sure what drove me to trust Teresa that day, but I felt I needed to explain to hopefully reduce the damage that I had done to her impression of me. And I'm a crier too, so sorry. So So I asked her for a moment alone. We moved to a private office where we could talk, and it all spilled out. The past damage, the present anxiety, and the pain that I anticipated the future would bring. Looking back, I think this was the moment that Teresa joined my rocky road to find peace and appreciation for myself. At this point in my journey, I didn't have a plan, but I had a strong desire to have a plan. My first meeting with Teresa was full of complaints about how I felt stuck at work, how I still didn't know what I wanted to do in my life or my career. Teresa pointed out that I was much like a feather flowing in the wind from one way than another, depending on the wind for direction in my life. To be honest, I didn't really like this. It was uncomfortable, and it was truer than I wanted to admit. But it forced me to see. Okay, I know I can forecast my voice, but come on. It forced me to see myself through Teresa's eyes. Teresa taught me so much in her time as my manager. One of the first things she taught me was to look at what I'd accomplished instead of looking at the mountain I'd yet to complete. Instead of counting what I didn't get done, she had me start counting the number of people I'd helped. And this was amazing in helping me find satisfaction in my job again. In each check-in meeting, she'd start by asking me, "What's going well these days?" This always led to a discussion of the improvements I could make based on what I'd learned from my successes, instead of concentrating on my failures. This was the beginning of my developing of a growth mindset. She taught me that it wasn't about other people respecting my boundaries, but about me respecting them. But even more important, that it was okay for me to set them. Most of all, she helped me to see that the path to healing is long and hard, and that it doesn't really end. That it's human to have a bad day, and that as long as I keep taking 2 steps forward, when life pushes me back, I'm still moving forward. Life will never be easy. If it were, would we be any happier? I sincerely doubt it. I want to stress that Teresa didn't heal me. She showed me how to find the stones that I needed to build my own path of healing. And trust me, my path still contains some rocks and potholes, but with Teresa's help and my own hard work, I'm learning to shift myself before the bumps throw me off course. Thank you everyone for joining us and helping these ladies at Rise Up help other women. Help them find the stones to build their own path to learn to get through these bumps.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Next, we have Jessica Choi.
Hello everyone, can you hear me? Okay, thank you for coming to this event and being part of getting to celebrate. I feel like tonight it just demonstrates how Rise Up is a little different than just going to therapy, because what therapy do we go to that has a gala that we get to celebrate? I'm on the other side. So, I think there's something about this podium that makes people cry. I was not emotional about this at all, and I am not going to be, is the plan. But anyway, thank you for being here to celebrate with me. This is the first time I've actually told a crowd of people my story, and I could have written it 1,000 different ways, and I did try to write it 1,000 different times, but I came up with a version that was 5 minutes long, so I might embellish a little later on. But first, I want to give God the glory for this because God is able to heal all wounds from trauma and dysfunctional relationships. He has given me the gift of this therapy. I'm so thankful it's available. So thank you for saying yes, Teresa, to doing this. Praise the Lord. So it all started because I started noticing that I was overanalyzing every interaction I was having. I was overanalyzing everything that was said to me. Even just a passing by meeting with my neighbor, I was overanalyzing it and saying negative things to myself. And I had done that in the past, but it wasn't every single interaction, and I knew that something was wrong. I called it anxiety because that seems to be the word that we call everything now, but it wasn't anxiety. It was trauma that was untouched and unhealed, and it was showing up. I had tried to get therapy previously. My first therapist that I tried to go to said that I had instigated the situation and that I was to blame for everything that had happened to me. The second therapist I went to gave me a clean bill of health. I was high functioning at that point, and I was accustomed to excusing the things that had happened to me and rationalizing and normalizing it that I thought I was fine too. I agreed with the second counselor. I thought she was right, but I was still walking around wounded. The moment when I thought it was anxiety and this can't be right, this can't be normal, there's something wrong, a friend met with me and said, you really need to talk to Teresa. And I had thought that Teresa was all about anxiety, so I said, yeah, okay, yeah, I think it's anxiety. So I have been talking with Teresa for about a year, almost a year, and we are not even finished with the book. The Genesis Process book is life-changing. It's life-changing, it's transformed between God, Teresa, and the Genesis process. That is the Holy Trinity of trauma rehabilitation. But it has transformed my life. So I prayed, though, before I met with Teresa. I asked, Lord, please don't let anything be hidden. And nothing was. Everything came about, everything came to light. Right after that, everything came to light that I needed to have uncovered, and everything was addressed that needed to be addressed. God answers our prayers when he sees we are absolutely suffering. So at my very bottom, I made a list to make it 5 minutes long. I'm a mom, so this was perfect. At my very bottom, I took blame and responsibility for anything and everything in every relationship. I had no boundaries. If there was ever confrontation or conflict, I would go silent. I internalized every negative thing that ever happened or was said. My wounds, my survival lies, my protective personalities and coping strategies, all of these things I didn't even know exist. I didn't know they were a thing before this therapy. I had no idea about protective personalities, but all of these things became my identity, and I thought it was real. I believed I had to perform to prove my value. I became the most performance-driven, people-pleasing person you would ever find. And all of it was me living in survival mode. I was just trying to survive. So, what I learned in the bottom line on this therapy is that nothing goes away. Nothing goes away until it's resolved. We can't just do something different and call it healing. That doesn't mean that we've healed when things are just passed over and excused. So how has my life changed? What has changed? My healing is so complete from the inside out that I feel it physically in my body, and I feel it day to day. I feel it in moments when I stand my ground and I hold the boundary now. I'm not stuck in the situation, is what I can say to myself. I'm concerned, but I'm not consumed. A 20-year stronghold has been broken in my family. I can see things with eyes of faith. Recently, this is the first time in my 45 years that I've been on this side where I've been healed. I've never been in this space before. And it was a new thing for me. I made my mom to-do list. And it occurred to me, I've got this new job opportunity and I'm gonna put out my fleece and see what God does for that. And I put a line and I put God list. And my first thing on my list was not even in my universe. It was just something I needed for the job that I wouldn't have access to. It was educational thing for kindergarteners when I have a 6th and 8th grader. And so it wouldn't even be in my universe. And the very next day, God supplied it in a very unique way. I didn't have to pay for it. I didn't have to pay half price for it. It was just supplied to me. And I know that every situation can be addressed and looked at with eyes of faith. My identity has been restored. I can see God as a compassionate Father who won't let me down. This is really funny. The next item on the list says I'm not over emotional. Oh my goodness. Okay, so most times I was going to get through this list without this. Okay, so I'm not over emotional. I have no need to analyze every conversation. I don't have a need to analyze any conversation now. I much less overanalyze it. I see wounds in others now. I can spot what I had suffered from in other people, and I can meet them where they're at with compassion. Every single relationship I have has benefited from my therapy. Fear is gone. And because I became healthy, 2 people in my world have apologized to me. One for the big thing, and one for some small incident, but both of the apologies were absolute miracles. I never would have had it coming if I was not healthy. The most important thing, I think, is that I can show the Father's heart, God's heart, my Father's heart and love for family that have wounded me. And my wounds no longer stand in the way of me showing them what God did for them. I also have forgiven all of them. Going through therapy, one day in preparing for a session, I had to sit down and write the things that had happened to me in a portion of my life. It took me a full day and a half, and I didn't do anything but sit down and write for a full day and a half of the things that had happened to me. But I'll tell you right now, if I tried to write that list today, I couldn't write it if I tried because I can't remember what's on the list. It's a miracle because at any point I could make a list of all the wrong things and the bad things that had happened, but when we choose forgiveness, I feel like it's a miracle God washes our memory of it. He washed my memory of it. And I do remember things here and there, but they're fleeting. I'm not tied to those past hurts anymore. I'm free from the potential of being like the people who hurt me. I'm able to move on in life. Their debt has been canceled, and I no longer need justice, apologies, or understanding. So, it is finished. And what I've learned is that if we come and we work alongside and we participate in what God is doing, He is able to take what we have to offer and do miracles. Because of this therapy, my life has been absolutely transformed. The life of my children, and every opportunity that I have. I am not over emotional. Just reminding you of that. I just wanted to remind everyone of that as I stand here. Okay, so I just want to say my life has been transformed, and every opportunity I have to reach out to someone who I know is hurting, and I will go out of my way to find as many people as I can, because this has so changed my life. May my life be used to reach others who sit in darkness. Thank you.
It's not us, it's the podium. Thank you so much. Brooke Marcois. Thank you, Brooke.
Okay, I've written this and read this a million times, and I've never done it once without crying, so we'll see how all of this goes. So I wanted to extend a deep thank you for the opportunity to open up my heart and share my story with you all. It is a story of hope, transformation, and faith. A story that wouldn't be possible without some extraordinary people who helped me find my way out of darkness and into a life filled with hope, healing, and wholeness. Hi, my name is Brooke. Let me start by sharing a bit of my backstory, where I've been and how I got here. I'm from Bakersfield, California. I have a now married 23-year-old daughter, 17-year-old son. My best friend is a little palm cheek pup who barks non-stop day in and day out. I currently work as an office manager in an appraisal company. I manage 40 different rentals. I am the children's director at my church, which is definitely my calling. And it sounds like a lot. It is. As you'll hear, I haven't always been so high functioning. For as long as I can remember, I suffered crippling anxiety and depression my entire life. As a child, I remember always having this sadness, this feeling of being alone and always being afraid. I was raised by a very controlling stepfather who was a little obsessed with me. He had a very warped sense of perception of self and life, and a mother whom I absolutely adore. Although I never lacked for anything material, I carried a lot of childhood trauma and PTSD. It was always instilled in me that it was all up to me whether or not I would succeed in life and whether or not I would be happy. I grew up knowing that our family believed in God, but I never knew anything about Jesus or having a relationship with him, just that Jesus loved me. But I didn't necessarily believe it. I believed who the world said I should be. I believed the lies of the enemy, that I had to be the prettiest, the smartest, the funniest, that I had to be successful, which meant go to school and get a high-paying job. A big house, fancy car, and lots of stuff. Most important to me was to have the perfect family. When my first child was born out of wedlock, and her father didn't want to marry me, I thought I had failed. This wasn't the way it was supposed to be. And that's when the enemy really got his foothold, and I started to develop these false beliefs. This deep-rooted commentary of nonstop negative self-talk. I thought I had to prove myself to everyone, but I could do it. I could take care of myself and my daughter, so I thought. So I vowed to my baby girl that I would go back to school so I could always provide for us, and we would never have to rely on a man to take care of me, all the while still looking for a man to validate me and give me a sense of worth, not knowing that my identity lies in Christ and that only he could fill that empty void I felt inside. I speak of my faith often since God is such a central part of my story, but wasn't always. After graduating college, I got married for all the wrong reasons, and I achieved most of what I thought I wanted that would bring the satisfaction and happiness I expected. But in fact, life just got harder. And I remember thinking often, why can't I be happy? And I would go after something else, putting my all into it, doing everything perfectly, becoming more and more resentful and bitter. My understanding of perception of life was darkened. The attitude of my mind had been darkened by my heart. I was filled with unforgiveness and pride, so full of fear and anger, now feeding an addiction to drugs and alcohol. All I saw was darkness, and I was so lost and so broken. I was physically, mentally, and spiritually ill, falling further and further off the right path. Doctors considered me mentally ill. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, major depression disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, bipolar disorder, and borderline personality disorder, otherwise all known as MDD, GAD, BP, and BPD. That's really hard to say. I was a mess, and I was crazy. I was not okay, and I was certain that I was never going to be okay. At my breaking point, I lost everything. My fancy job, my car, my home. My family took my children away from me, and they were split up. My mother took my daughter, and my husband at the time took my son and filed for divorce, and I completely lost my mind. My children were my entire world. I thought that my only purpose in life was to be their mommy. Unable to work, unable to have a conversation, completely unable to care for myself, let alone my children. I hurt inside so bad that I would have these fits of rage, screaming and cursing and flailing about. And then seconds later, I'd be on the ground in the fetal position, just rocking back and forth, crying out hysterically. I was bound by chains. I felt dead inside, and the Lord knows I wanted to die, and I would plead with him, why won't you help me? And I would go on punishing myself, believing if I just hurt bad enough that he would know, he would believe me, and he would listen. But that's not the way it works. Something inside me kept telling me that this wasn't the end, that there had to be something more. Now, at this time in my life, I could barely go to the supermarket across the street without leaving a cart, freaking out and leaving a cart half full of stuff in the middle of the store. But from a series of little miracles, I was led on a journey 800 miles away from home to Corvallis, Oregon, away from anything I'd ever known, away from my family, and away from my children. In order to save my life, I was going to have to leave it. Initially, I got on the freeway going the wrong direction for an hour and a half. And so, I went south, heading to Oregon from California, and had to come back through it all with an enemy in my ear. When I finally arrived where I was planning on staying, where I sought out rehab, it was quickly revealed that this wasn't his plan, just part of his orchestration to get me up here. So I found myself still homeless, Now 800 miles away with no money, any way of making money, and I was completely alone. Through the next 2 weeks, I found myself in Eugene, interviewing at a recovery program at the Eugene Mission. In the process of the interview, there was a bit of a misunderstanding on my part, and I left. Not having any clue what I was going to do, I headed back to Corvallis, but before I left, the counselor asked me if she could pray with me. And she prayed, Lord, if Brooke is meant to be here and meant to be in this program, please don't let her leave Eugene. 20 minutes later, on my way out of town, I was hit by a semi, totaling my car and stranding me in Eugene. Thank you, Teresa, for all your prayers. As you've just heard, this is when I met Teresa Ortiz. I was at my worst. I was drowning in darkness I thought I could never escape. But then came this amazing program and her extraordinary guidance. Teresa didn't just see my struggles, she saw me. Not just my brokenness, but the person beneath it all. She took the time to listen, to understand, and to truly care. She believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. She loved me when I didn't know how to love myself. Her kindness and patience created a safe place for me to heal, to learn, and to grow. Through her guidance, I started to discover who I truly was, not just in this life, but in Christ. She helped me confront the lies and false beliefs I had carried for so long. Christianity or any belief was never pushed on me. It was lived and modeled, and God did the rest. For the first time, I didn't just hear about faith, I felt it. Through her unwavering support, she walked alongside me as I rebuilt my life step by step, overcoming challenges I once thought were impossible. She gave me the tools to rise above my struggles and discover a life filled with purpose, hope, and joy. And I'm here to tell you that I have been transformed by the renewing of my mind. I have been set free. I've been given victory over darkness, no longer burdened by the chains of my past, no longer defined by the hopelessness and despair that once consumed me. I have overcome a 20-year addiction to drugs and alcohol. I have conquered the battles of mental illness. My heart has been softened, allowing me to do something I never thought possible, to forgive. I've forgiven those who have hurt me so deeply. I've forgiven myself. And through that forgiveness, I have found true freedom. Today, my life is no longer defined by pain and struggle, but by love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I stand here as living proof that transformation is possible, that hope is real, and that no one is ever too far gone to find redemption. Now, life will never be perfect. There will always be trials. But by the grace of God, I'm okay. He filled me with a sense of purpose that is bigger than the moment. Thank you to an amazing team. I have so many tools, and I will be celebrating 10 years of recovery in April. And Rise Up is bringing this life-changing guidance to others, creating a safe, supportive space for people to heal and rediscover themselves. I was so excited to learn of Rise Up that I stood in the center of Walmart talking to Teresa for an hour. And I know that firsthand the transformation it can inspire. I've experienced its power, and I know it will change countless lives. Hope, healing, and renewal are possible, and Rise Up is making that possible for so many. Teresa, thank you for your love and your patience and your unwavering belief in me when I had none in myself. Thank you for showing me what it means to be seen, loved, and valued. You've given me a second chance at life, and I am forever grateful. And thank you, Jesus, for delivering me out of the darkness and into the light. To everyone here tonight, thank you for supporting this incredible mission. Your generosity will help transform lives just like mine. And together, we can bring hope, healing, and wholeness to those who need it most. And now, it is my absolute honor to invite back up onto the stage Teresa Ortiz. Thank you all.
It is this podium because anyone who knows me knows I don't cry. And that's all I've been doing is crying. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. I want to share my story. We've gone, it's 7:30. You're just going to have to wonder. Just kidding. My story starts when I was very young. As far back as I can remember is probably 5 or 6 years old. And my parents were divorced when we were young. And my mom had to work, so we were at home alone a lot. So we learned, my sister and I and my brother, we learned how to take care of ourselves. And we just did an amazing job at 6, 7, and 8. But the things that I went through, I had my drug of choice as well, and that was anger. I was full of anger. It was much easier to hurt other people before they could hurt me. I was done with being hurt. I learned very young that I was the only one who could take care of myself. And I love my mom. She did the best she could, but she was a single mom. But even though we do the best we can, the fact is the best we can is not enough. And that's okay. We're all human. But recognizing that, and that's what I had to come to, because to break those cycles, I made some pretty big mistakes as well. Very, very mean person. When I talk to people, I can't picture you mean. Just ask that man sitting right there. He'll tell you how mean I was. He used to have to kind of nudge me, kick me under the table at dinner because I would just talk too much, tell people what I thought, let you know exactly what was on my mind, and it wasn't always good. I share that because one of the things that we discover in this coaching, and I want to share the difference between coaching and counseling because that's a question that's asked a lot. But in this coaching, it's about questions, asking questions. It's not just telling someone they're okay, they're doing pretty good, they're managing. It's not about telling someone you have a right to be angry, you should be angry. That is true, but it doesn't stop there. It's the questions of what is happening. What has happened, not as what is wrong with you. And that's what I had to come to learn myself. What happened to me, not what is wrong with me. And I learned the difference between shame and guilt. And guilt is something that you feel when you do something wrong. Guilt is designed to show us that something is not okay. But shame is I am the something wrong. And that is one thing that I carried. I was the something wrong. So it made me a very angry, mean person. And I was going to do everything I could to keep everybody away from me. And I have an incredible husband who saw past that when we were friends, when I was very young. But nobody else could get close. And even my children, I've had to do a lot of apologizing to them because they saw things in me that weren't that great. But I'm so thankful for God's grace that pulled me out of that took me to a place of being angry, just telling God that it wasn't fair, it's not okay, why should I trust you? I can't even trust my own father, let alone you. All of these battles, but what it taught me was that the best place and the way to heal is starting by being honest with our feelings. As Brittany mentioned earlier, for me it's faith. For some people it's not, but that's okay. It still starts with being honest and acknowledging things. So coaching, we're all certified coaches here, so we get training. But the difference between counseling and coaching is that asking difficult questions. Asking people, what would it look like if life were fair? What does fair mean to you? And helping them to see the things that they are responsible for. This Genesis process, that one of these things that we use, helps us to see and acknowledge our responsibility. That's another difficult thing about what we do at Rise Up. It's very difficult because we have to admit our own responsibility for our actions. But it's also placing responsibility to the appropriate party instead of being the one to take the blame. Like, I must be bad because my dad abandoned me. I must be bad because my husband cheated on me. Everything is me, and that is not true. So sorting that all out and unwinding the pain is very difficult. And freedom is bumpy and messy, and it's interesting because the women that come to me, many of them have already been in counseling, and as Jessica had mentioned, there's just kind of some surface things, and I'm not putting down counseling because heaven knows we need them, and there's some incredible counselors out there. But what I've learned is not everybody can work with a counselor. We're all very different, and coaching offers something different. It allows someone to explore on their own what is happening and be responsible for their own healing. And when they take ownership of that, they are willing to do the hard work. And I have to say, I've been doing this for 12 years now, this Genesis process and some other things. And every woman who has been faithful to complete the work has come out healed on the other side. I have had some women who said, I can't do this. And that's okay. I don't shame them. It is not time. It is a difficult thing. But I want to thank you all so much for being here and listening to these stories, and for those of you who have supported Rise Up early on. And it's because of those things that we have these stories today. And I am excited for what is in store for 2025. And I just want to share a couple of things with you. Why do we have to talk about money? We need it. All of us, we do. We all have bills to pay. But in all honesty, I just want to say this year, our hope and our goal is to increase the income that we have an additional $3,000 a month. It's not a lot of money, but it's still, it's a good number. But what that does is help us to continue to be able to put money away for a building. One of the things we run into is we don't have a lot of places where we can hold workshops. We want to be able to share and have more workshops so we can reach more women and teens at one time. I'm so grateful for Grace Community Fellowship because they have partnered with Rise Up as one of their Bridges initiatives, and we get to use this auditorium. I can use office space for counseling. Out in Veneta area, we're able to use the Fern Ridge Service Center, but all of that again takes money in that area. And right now, our income is $2,300 a month. We're very, very just simple, low-key, trying to do a mighty work. But because of the support and the prayers, it gets done. But we are also operating in a deficit right now of almost $500 a month. But by faith, we took that step because we want to help more women. And the more time that we have available, the more we can help. So this increase would help us to do that, to be able to have an opportunity to have another building where we can hold workshops, the health workshops that Jen was talking about, because wellness is every area, mind, body, and soul. And we want to focus on each of those areas. And this is what will make that possible. And I thank you so much for listening tonight. And we will be out in the lobby if you have any additional questions. There is, I'm sure of you have seen the sheet on the tables that has an opportunity for you to consider donating if you already support us. If you could just share that if you're able to continue that support through 2025, it really helps us to budget and look ahead and make plans when we know what we can expect each month. We also know that things are difficult and we can't, expect people to be able to support continuously. So if there's a change for those of you who already support, if you need to step down, please let us know. If you're able to increase your donation, please let us know. That way we can plan what our 2025 looks like. And we hope that in 2026, we will be able to expand our services even more. I've had several people ask me if we coach men, if we do this for men. We do not at this time. Teens, yes, but men, we do not. But I would love to do that. I would love to be able to have coaches, men coaches that could coach the men, because there's a need for that too. In fact, if we're being honest, there are a lot more resources for women than there are men. And those of you who have sons, and a lot of women I've spoken to can attest to that. So that is a vision that we have for the future as well. We want to get through 2025 and support the people that we have now. We have been able to expand a little bit by going into this deficit, and we were able to have 3 additional openings for counseling, and we hope to have more in the coming months. So again, we just thank you so much for being a part of this special night. It didn't go perfectly. We had some bloops, but that's okay. That's real life and that's healing. Thank you for being a part of this first benefit and being here. Thank you. Not perfect. I forgot about the third raffle. We have a third raffle. Which one is it? Where's my paper? Which one is it? Oh, this is the Treat Yourself raffle. It has a lot of things in it, and I lost my list, so it's stuff. There's blankets, there's candles, there's bottles, there's candy, there's masks, there's stuff. Good stuff. Okay, 1184474. 1184474. Anybody? I wonder if I know a couple of people had to leave early. Oh. Okay, 1184321. All right. Okay, now we're done, and we will be mingling outside if you have any questions for us. Jen, Brittany, and myself and Debbie will be out there. So thank you again. Now we're done.